Well, we didn't have it last year, but sometimes life comes around and it kicks you right in the behind. And WWE is heading back to Saudi Arabia, and we have a brand new, only the third one in history, Crown Jewel pay-per-view. WWE is also trying to treat this like WrestleMania, and if that is the case, they better stop making it feel like it's a bag of nothing, and that's why when you actually go through the card, your eyebrow goes up in the air. You're like, well, that looks quite good. But it's always going to depend on the finishes and how many disqualifications and distractions WWE tries to do. My name is Simon from What Culture, and let's do what we have to do before we get to Thursday. What flipping world are we living in? And predict WWE Crown Jewel. Right, I am going to start with what I think is one of the best booked and most anticipated match, at least from my perspective, when it comes to WWE Crown Jewel, and that is Mustafa Ali versus the hometown hero Mansoor. Now, these guys were given no time, the whole storyline was rushed, but they have put so much effort into it and they're so damn talented to begin with that I am pleased they actually have somewhat of a big show to pay all this hard work off. Now, I'm terrified because after the fact, who the hell knows what's going to happen? Both of these two should be being pushed to the moon, but I like to live in now, so I'm just gonna smile and be happy. This is one of those rare occasions too where the hometown person isn't going to lose. Like if this was Sacramento and it was a Californian wrestler, that person would stand no chance. But it's not. It's Saudi Arabia, a lot of money changes hands. Mansoor is 100% going to win. I just really hope they get more than 5 minutes, and I really doubly hope they get to show what they are capable of, because again, these two cats are damn talented. So I just wanted to shout them out because I know how YouTube works, audience retention. They are really, really good. If anybody from WWE is watching this, don't make them vanish to main event, or you know the deal. I'll go on that there Reddit and I will moan. We're also getting RK Bro, the Raw Tag Team Champions, taking on Omos and AJ Styles. And this is kind of a difficult one, because if you go through each of the teams, they're brilliant. Randy Orton and Riddle have got that whole, oh, I like you, but I hate you chemistry. And for a good while there, AJ Styles and Omos were endlessly entertaining. But because we've just been going round and round and round to the point your eyes close for no reason, I ain't as excited about this as I'd like to be. I also don't think in any universe should you be taking the titles off Randy Orton and Riddle. The only way to break that team up, and this is an occasion where WWE should be doing that, is for Matthew Riddle to turn on Randall Keith Orton. That is it. It would be a surprise. Riddle has all the justification in the world because Orton's been a massive dick to him, and you could then shrug off some of this goofy sides of his character, and once again, like other people I've already talked about, start to push him to the moon. We're gonna need a big rocket. It does mean that AJ Styles has to take another loss, because I don't think WWE is ever going to let anybody pin Omos. That's right, he's AJ Styles. Now that Big E is on Raw and he's the WWE champion, we should be going to AJ Styles versus Big E as soon as we can. And that's another reason why he can suffer defeat here. And I know you're going, but that doesn't make sense if he's going to become the #1 contender. It's WWE, it never makes sense. We'll probably do Seth Rollins first, and then we will have forgotten about this, and then we can go to the phenomenal one. I'll be happy, RK Bro will win after somebody pins Mr. Styles. We also have a couple of tournaments to wrap up when we get to Crown Jewel, including the Queen's Crown tournament. And I'm pretty sure if you actually add up all of the matches and get their culminative total, it barely reaches 15 minutes. What a crock. We've also got Zelina Vega versus Doudrop, which I never would have called, but there's only one thing we can do here, and it's very, very important. Somebody called Vega is in the final of a tournament. And if they do not win, and if they don't come out the next night on Raw or SmackDown, whatever the hell she's on this day, wearing a claw and climbing up some railings, once again, I'm going to be massively disappointed. It is looking at you in the face, WWE. Do not let me down. Also, I just think Zelina Vega will be much better in this Queen gimmick than Doudrop. That's no offense to the Drop. I think she's absolutely fine. But you know that WWE is going to make them do this, like King Booker and everything like that, or King Barrett, pick whichever one you want, or King Corbin. There's been a bunch of them. And with Doudrop, that ain't going to work. Whereas Zelina Vega, she can be all arrogant, and hopefully it will actually give her career a little bit of a boost, because do not forget, before the Queen's Crown tournament, she hadn't won a match in WWE in a year. So it is a shame that the powers that be felt the need to breeze through this entire thing. I would have liked a bit more extended matches so I could buy it a little bit further, but whatever. If it gives somebody the Queen's gimmick and that's really good, I suppose it will work. And also Zelina Vega better win, and she better do it for Spain. Which of course leads us to the men's King of the Ring finals, and this one has me torn. It's like somebody has taken my heart and chewed it up, and it's just in bits on the floor. So on the one hand, you have Finn Balor, who would be a tremendous king, and of course his nickname used to be the Prince, so that writes itself. But on the other is Xavier Woods. And if you know anything about Xavier Woods, he has said time and time again, Kofi Kingston became WWE Champion, greatest day ever. Big E became WWE Champion, greatest day ever. And another greatest day ever would be me getting crowned King of the Ring, and he's been going on about this for so long. I have totally invested in it. I am emotionally connected, and it really, truly must happen. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And it really could go either way. I mean, you have two fan favorites here that are super duper over. So now, like I said, I don't know what to do. And I don't know what to expect, and I don't know what to predict. What I really hope is that they get a solid 15 minutes and can just have a fantastic match. Because then when you do get to the final few seconds, whoever does have their arm raised, well, you're gonna be pleased as toffee anyway. So I am going to put all my weight behind Xavier Woods because it just needs to happen. I will have a tear in my eye and you just know he's going to be so damn pleased. And the New Day have been so tremendous for so many years now. Let's finish off the trifecta. And like Batista said, give him what he wants. Go Woods. And this is when you start to realize that on paper, Crown Jewel is pretty good, because after that we have Seth Rollins versus Edge in a Hell in a Cell. Now their feud has been one of the best of 2021 anyway. They cannot have anything but great matches, and now they're doing it in the great structure that we're all supposed to be terrified of, but we're not because of what happened 2 years ago. But that also ties into this because you just know Seth is going to have a bee in his bonnet to eradicate that from our memories, and probably, and I think I mean this when I think about it, have one of the best cell matches ever. I mean, they are more than capable. And WWE has to have a proper plan here because both of these guys are going to Raw. If you are separating them and one's on SmackDown and one's staying on Monday nights, it's like, who cares? But they are going to clash again at some point. So once more, you've got to have this all thought out, which is why you've got to give it to Seth Rollins. That's right, you didn't see it coming and you thought I was going to say Edge, but as I already mentioned in this video, I truly think the first feud we should be doing, maybe we come out the other side of Survivor Series, is Big E versus Seth frickin' Rollins. I just think that makes all the sense in the world. Seth has been desperate for a world title shot for ages and he's earned that kind of shot, but I don't want to have this stupid thing when he loses to Edge in Hell in a Cell, and yet for some reason, he's the #1 contender, and Edge is just at home, looking at his child's pictures, drinking his orange juice. And also, it is Hell in a Cell. I've said that about 9 times now, but you can come up with some crazy finish that doesn't involve sledgehammers and toolboxes, where you go, it doesn't matter that Edge got defeated, because he was basically killed. And look, if you are going to do AJ Styles versus Big E before you do Big E versus Seth Rollins, then you can have Edge win. It doesn't really matter because they're just going to have a great match. But I prefer my way, so let them do that. And I tell you this, I think we're all going to go when we see what they've concocted for the final few minutes. And I just mentioned death. Let's talk about Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley. Now, very sadly, I actually think this one has been telegraphed, and I actually think it's going to make us very sad pandas. But a few weeks ago, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin attacked Bill Goldberg and like, oh man, the Hurt Business is back together, even though these two and Bobby Lashley haven't appeared on Raw once as a unit ever since. So do you know why we have done this? And do you know why there's been no explanation? Because out they're going to come during the Crown Jewel. They'll beat up Gil Goldberg. It's a no-holds-barred match, so there's no DQ. That will allow Bobby Lashley to win. That will protect Bill Goldberg, and then we'll get to Raw, and we won't hear from Bill. Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin will move back to main event, which is stupid because they're really, really good. And it is smart that it is going to be a no-holds-barred match because it means these two can just kick each other's ass. That's the only way I can see it going. To the point, I can't even come up with any other ideas. That's right, I've stood on my soapbox with so much intent, everything else has just fluttered away from my brain. And when this does happen, I'm just gonna be like, why do we always do this? Not that I'd advocate for Bobby Lashley losing, it's just so weak and it's just so lazy, and dare I say it, it's just so WWE. What a match we should then have, because it is Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch for the SmackDown Women's title. I mean, ooh da lally. Now the big thing we have to remember here is that Charlotte is the Raw Women's Champion, but she's going to SmackDown. So we have to ensure that this belt comes back to Raw, which kind of makes this a little bit muddy. Because if Becky Lynch does retain, which I assume she will do, that means we have to do that dumb thing that we did with the tag team titles, when Charlotte and Becky walk up to each other and they just exchange physical belts because now they're on the other show. And I don't want to get on a tangent, but this is why there should only be one world champion. So the only way to avoid that would be to have Sasha Banks win, and then she goes back to SmackDown, and for a month or so you have 2 women's champions on Friday nights, but then we get to Survivor Series when the brands collide, and then maybe you could do Bianca Belair versus Charlotte round 2, and Bianca wins that, and she brings the Raw Championship home. This is really hurting my brain. But none of that's probably going to happen. That's just me ranting and raving like a fool. Becky Lynch will win. Because she just will. I have nothing else to tell you, but I do think this will be fabulous. Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks from SmackDown was absolutely great. Anytime Becky and Bianca Belair have done their things, great. They're all super duper great. This also could be a match of the night. But yeah, Bex will win. And Big E will beat Drew McIntyre for their WWE title. That's it. That's all I've got. Drew is heading to SmackDown, probably to feud with Roman Reigns, which again creates a massive problem. But they're not going to give him the Raw title when he is going to Friday nights. Just going to stand here with my arms folded. You go in the comments. You let me know what other ideas you have. That's what's going to happen. There may be some shenanigans because, oh my gosh, can they coexist? Even though they don't need to coexist anymore. Just tapping away now. Big E will win. Which brings us to the most intriguing match of the night and probably the main event. The Universal Champion Roman Reigns, head of the table, Tribal Chief, we love you, taking on Brock Lesnar and I suppose Paul Heyman in both of their corners. And that is why it is so damn good. This is easily one of the best stories in WWE right now, and I have no idea which way this is going to play out, especially because Heyman's being on social media going, well, I tell you this, at the end of the match, I will definitely be walking out with the Universal Champion. But did he drop a name? You bet your ass he did not. Now, if I really do push myself, I think that Roman will retain here. That's what I feel when I go down into my Tootsie Toes. Probably because Paul Heyman reveals, Brock Lesnar, I have screwed you over, and therefore we can get to a round 2 of this. Probably at WrestleMania 38, because I don't mean to pop your bottle, but The Rock ain't gonna be there. This is fine though, it's absolutely fine. You can't do the whole Paul Heyman teasing for the next 72 years. That would be really boring. And the best kind of stories is when you get a definite answer, and then you can go on to whatever is next. Also, it protects Brock Lesnar, it keeps the belt on Roman Reigns. I think right now, this just ticks all the boxes, and it makes Paul Heyman a massive dick. That's a role he's really good at. What I'm also really pumped for is the fact we've done a role reversal here and Brock is the good guy and Roman is a bad guy. For me personally, I think it's injected a breath of fresh air into this whole thing, especially because WWE will finally get what they want. Roman will win and people will go boo boo and just make a lot of noise, as opposed to that stuff that happened last time, where we had to change finishes at the last minute because nobody wanted to see Roman Reigns as the champ. This could be really good though. I've got a Seeking Technicians, they're gonna beat the absolute crap out of each other. And once more, you go through that entire card, it should be a very entertaining watch. But once more, we know sometimes how this goes. Now, more important than all of that, make sure you go into the comments below and let me know what are your predictions for Crown Jewel 2021. Maybe you have better ideas than me. You should do. I'm an idiot. Then like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Head over to whatculture.com where you can read yourself some articles. Make sure you come follow us on social media. And we got a ton of videos, a literal ton. What's the ball? My name is Simon from What Culture. Thank you very much for joining me as always. Enjoy Crown Jewel. I mean, it's a random pay-per-view on a Thursday. What else have we got to do? And I will see you late on Thursday or in the day, depending on your time zone, where of course we'll up those downs and see what the hell has happened. Bye.